It's pretty clear that Gina has some very, very noticeable and extreme strengths as a musician. Her technique is incredibly good, and she plays with an effortlessness that I don't have. And she's fast, and she's very clever and harmonically, and all sorts of stuff that, like, would seem like obvious things to use, but I thought maybe subconsciously, maybe more directly at times, well, she's good at all this stuff, man, maybe I'm good at all this stuff. Maybe between the two of us, we can find something that neither of us are particularly comfortable with or particularly good at. And just maybe that's something that we can develop.
There was a lot of moments throughout this whole process where I guess I can only speak for myself, where it's like, I feel like I have a tendency to want to do something here that makes sense to me, like whether it's like having some kind of riff or solo, like I'm feeling a tendency to want to do something here, but I don't know if that's really suiting the greater good of this song and like the album as a whole. So just trying to think about different ways and like different things that we all, or that I as a guitar player, could like bring to the table was challenging.
We just layered so many guitars up, and sometimes some songs what we do is we just layer these incredibly dense chord clusters and mathematically ridiculous numbers of changes and little movements and all sorts of stuff. We do so much of that then we'd have to take a step back and kind of strip all the excess off and all the artifice off, and then go, okay, well, now here's something that's just sounds totally bizarre, but I know underneath all that is something familiar to me.
There can never be just like one guitar track and then like a harmony. It's like, okay, there's one guitar track, but then like double it, and then like double it again, and then harmonize it, and like each layer has a really different and distinct like guitar tone. And so yeah, there's a lot of layering that goes on. I think in Baroness in general, and like certainly on this record, we're definitely like pushing some of the sonic boundaries.
I think of my equipment like I think of the different implements I use to make artwork. Each guitar is like a different brush or a different color in my palette, and sometimes the most interesting thing you can do with any given instrument is use it incorrectly, or just forget that you know what it's supposed to do, and just think more openly about what you're doing.
John and I were on this big kick where we wanted to record like our individual parts like together at the same time in a continuous take, like as opposed to like I'll go first, and if I messed up I'll just like punch it in. We're like, no, we have to go at the same time, and if like one of us messes up, then like we both have to start over from scratch, and like like that kind of thing. I don't know why, we're getting a big kick out of doing that. And yeah, once we started like getting in the groove and like nailing some stuff, then we were like, all right, now we're gonna do it, but like we're gonna stand back to back like around the coffee table or whatever.
I'm positive that more so than any other record, I can't play the other guitar parts in this one. I don't know how they're done. We trusted each other blindly so frequently that after a certain point, we just didn't have a choice but to continue to do so. And that offered like a freedom, musical freedom in a way that I was not familiar with, and I don't think I'd felt before. Because after a certain point, if you just, if you really don't know what your partner is doing, but you know that what you are doing works with what your partner is doing, you just go, okay, well that's the way it is. I don't have to. I'm not going to ask questions because it take me probably a while to learn what she's doing. Take her probably a while to learn what I'm doing. Let's just admit that we're complementing one another in a sort of obscure way.
Nobody got mad at the other person. Like I can imagine doing that with somebody, and then if you nail it and they mess up, it's like, I'll kill you. But we were able to accomplish that gracefully.
We recorded a couple of songs that are, pure improv. They're kind of jams. The difficult thing there when you're jamming is not to play a guitar solo, because I'm a guitar player, and most of the time when I think about jamming or improving, I think that the tendency is to make sure that your instrument is heard above the other ones. That's what solos are. But how about the idea that we're playing something free and open, and we have to remember that our instrument is only part of a song. It's not the most important thing. So it doesn't have to be audible, and it doesn't have to be articulate all the time. That's tricky, because so much of what Baroness does is in embellished, articulate things.
Borderlines. I think Borderlines is the epic of the record, That was the one where we had the best idea of going into the studio probably. And it's just I think that's us doing heavier Thin Lizzy, I don't think that should be used in the video, but
First thing that comes to mind is me and John tracking vocals at Dave's studio for that. I don't know, and just spending a whole day belting it out. That was one of the earlier things we tracked vocals on, I think.
At 6.5 minutes, maybe the most normal song on the record. Maybe that is the most normal song. There's plenty of guitar in it. There's 4 guitar solos. And a completely improv funk outro. I guess that's what we do now.
Borderlines. I think Afro Thin Lizzy. Afro 6'8", Thin Lizzy.